This is the case of Moses Sithole. Moses was born 17 November 1964 in Gauteng. As a young boy, his father died, and his mother abandoned him and his 4 siblings at a police station. Later in his life, he would become a truck washer and was considered a charming ladies' man. But things would take a turn for the worst when in 1987 he began raping women. In this time, he also dated a 17-year-old girl. After being arrested in 1987 and sent to prison for 6 years for these crimes, he was released in 1993 for good behavior and moved to Pretoria. Relating to this, he always said that he was innocent of the crimes that he was accused of for the first time he was arrested. But I'll get into that later in the story. In 1994, Moses killed his first victim, Maria, by luring her in by giving her a desk job. He did this with all the victims to come. After raping and strangling her, he wrote messages on her skin to law enforcement. This would be his way to tell law enforcement who he is, but telling them in the same way that law enforcement won't be able to find him. So he wrote on all his victims, he wrote different cryptic messages, and the messages would be things like, you don't know where to get me, and things relating to the first case he was arrested to that he believed that he was innocent of. By the fall, 4 women had been strangled, a 5th in Pretoria and a 6th in Boksburg. After the birth of his daughter in 1994, he separated from his wife and became homeless, living in train stations. From then, more women were found murdered at the increased rates in Pretoria. He would later be given the name the ABC Killer at Ridgeville, Boksburg, and Cleveland. On October 1995, he called a Gauteng newspaper under the alias Joseph, claiming to be the ABC Killer. This after President Nelson Mandela made a public appearance to ask for any leads regarding the case after the killing hit an all-time high. In this phone call to the press, he stated that he hated women after being falsely accused and falsely arrested for the rape of a young lady in previous years. But the evidence he had given in this phone call matched Moses Sithole precisely, and the police immediately put 2 and 2 together and knew that the alias who phoned was Joseph, and the real man behind the phone call was none other than Moses Sithole, and an image of him was given to the press. After being arrested, Sithole claimed to have committed over 10 murders and described 7 murders in detail while masturbating in a hospital. Sithole was charged with 38 murders, and on 4 December 1997, Moses was found guilty on 38 counts of murder, 40 counts of rape, and 6 counts of robbery. He was sentenced to 2,410 years in prison, with no possibility of parole. He is currently in C-Max section of Pretoria Central Prison, the highest security block of South Africa. This man is currently still in jail, still serving his time, and is known as South Africa's worst serial killer. This is a story that I'm also new to. I never knew this guy even existed until doing a bit of research on him.